Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time it happens to be. Welcome back to another episode of Kanan's Cadence, the show where I talk about my interests, hobbies, and experiences at my own pace and with my own rhythm. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am officially back from my long awaited vacation to Disney World, and just a day into being back, I can easily say I would like to go back already. I didn't really want to come back home when I had to. But everything has to end, of course, and even though I wanted to stick around, I wasn't able to. I needed to come back and get back to reality is the thing. But obviously, as I've said in weeks past, I said it last week, um, I have a lot that I want to talk about with this particular trip, and that I was going to save for today, of course, right after I got back from the trip. This is also a kind of like, for me at the very least, a non-conventional way of doing things for the podcast in particular, just because I'm accustomed to recording these on Thursdays. I didn't obviously have my setup when I was away on vacation to record this past Thursday on the 15th. I was like, I'll just record when I get back, and been back for a day. Episode goes up tomorrow, so I was like, I don't have anything recorded. I got to get something up, or I know at the very least two of you will let me know about it if I don't post regularly on a Monday. So, yeah, anyway, so I wanted to spend today just kind of recapping, just going over a couple of points of what went on the trip and like my thoughts on the things that I did, what types of things I did, the good, the bad, all that type of stuff. To jump the gun there, right? Like just a little bit. Um, Most everything that I experienced was a blast. I had a phenomenal time all the way through. Let me start with the one bad thing that happened on the trip, though. Luckily, it was only one, but it was a story that I kind of wanted to just jump right into. So, just flashback a little bit. Sunday last week, January 11th, that's when me and my friends flew out. I went with my friends Matt and Ash, and big shout out to the two of them for just all the laughs, all the just all the memories, experiences, everything that we had on the trip. Phenomenal time. So we all fly out on Sunday. We get there early in the morning, like maybe 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock on Sunday, and we have time to catch our shuttle to the resort. We stayed at Port Orleans Riverside, just outside of Epcot. And what a beautiful resort that was. So calm, so laid back. And that was kind of exactly what we needed when it came to just like all the running around. Like every single park is always going to be like rowdy, it's going to be loud, it's going to be crowded, and all that type of stuff, just as it is. But Riverside was so much to the contrary of that. Like it was always so quiet, always so spacious and scenic, and it was just the best like reprieve that we had. Like anytime that we got back, at the very least, that's what it felt like for me. Anytime that I got back from being out for a while and went back to the resort, even just walking from the bus back to the hotel, I was it was the best like way to decompress after a long day of running around, or even if it was just after like one brief stretch of running around before we went and did anything else in the evening. So that was a great place for us to stay. But anyway, so what is it? We spend our time at Riverside on Sunday. We go and get dinner at night. That was great. So the following day on Monday, first day in the park. So we decide first park that we're going to, Hollywood Studios, and I had not too many memories of Hollywood Studios actually from the last couple of times that I've been, and I was pleasantly surprised with the things that I got to do there, and just the pictures that I got to take. I had my camera with me, and I'm just taking pictures left and right. First ride that we go on, I think, was the Tower of Terror, and I'd never been on that one. Just the crazy drops, those like elevator drops and whatever, at random intervals. That was such a fun ride. I actually had a nice moment with that one where I was, as we get to the top of the ride before the first drop, they open up the skylight and start to let the sunlight in. And my gosh, I wasn't prepared for that. So luckily we had the photo pass, so we get all of our pictures and videos sent to us after they're taken by the park and have those as saved memories. So that was great. But my on that ride in particular was my favorite shot of me. My picture was me with both arms just raised in front of my face and my mouth just screaming because I'm just like, oh my god, the sun, it's blinding me. Like, we got that captured not just as a picture, but like we got that in like slow motion video as well. Just like the moment of realization on my face, just like, oh my god, the sun. And then just my hands go up and then the ride starts to drop. So that was fun. But yeah, so we did Tower of Terror. We did the thing that I was really looking forward to doing, which actually leads me directly to the thing that I've been leading up to for the last few minutes. I wanted to go to Galaxy's Edge because I've been a Star Wars fan for the last decade or so, I want to say, and ever since the last time that I've been there, or the last time that I was there, let me say, Galaxy's Edge was not a thing at that time. It opened sometime between 2012 and 2026, of course. And so when I was hearing people talk about it, like Rise of the Resistance and Smuggler's Run, all that type of stuff, I really wanted to do that because I like Star Wars. And those were some of my favorite ride experiences, period. Rise of the Resistance, like being way, way up there. What a cool experience. Now, as far as Star Wars stuff goes, though, it's ironic because the ride that's been around the longest in terms of the Star Wars rides, Star Tours, which is of them the only one that I'd ever done before. I did Star Tours the last time that I went in 2012, and I went on Star Tours remembering that it's like a 4D experience sort of thing. It's like bumpy and all that type of stuff, and you're just like watching the screen, the chairs, the seats that you're sitting in are moving around and whatever. But like nothing too crazy. It's definitely not like anything like too thrilling, but it's like it moves. So you got to just watch yourself. I had a poor experience on that ride this time. It wasn't the ride's fault, but like it kind of added to it. So for lunch that day, we had eaten at was it ABC Commissary, which is going to haunt me at this point. I got food poisoning there. I contracted food poisoning on the very first day in the parks on this trip. And the ironic thing, and I joked about it with my friends the rest of the trip, was that like when we were there sitting down for food at this place, the food that I had ordered, I was kind of raving about it the whole time. Like, oh my gosh, this is so good. Like, I've never had something that tastes like this. I've had the same sort of thing, but like not made like this. It's so good. And I guess it was just something having to do with that particular dish because like we all kind of like picked at each other's food like a little bit when we were there. I'd offered for my friends to try what I had ordered and they actually didn't. And I'm glad that they didn't because if it really was from that, then we might have all been knocked out of commission. So again, like I contracted food poisoning, went on, proceeded to go on Rise of the Resistance and Smuggler's Run, and I had a lot of fun with those. But I remember after Smuggler's Run, I was just like, my stomach. I should probably watch for this. And then I was just like, we only got one more ride to go on Star Tours, and then we're going to be heading back. Went on Star Tours, and all hell broke loose. That's all that I'm going to say on that in particular. But for the next day and a half, I want to say, to the very end of the following day, Tuesday, I was knocked out of commission. Like I was bedridden basically all of Tuesday. Like my stomach is in knots, and like I'm like I had like the shakes and all that type of stuff. Just a lot of stuff. I'd never experienced anything like that before. Bless my friends. Like I happened to go with like the two perfect people. It seems because like the two of them did everything and more to make sure that they could help with like nursing me back to health that day, while still I managed to convince them like don't stay in the hotel, don't stay too close to me, as I still want you guys to be able to get out and like do some stuff. But they were also just like, we're not going to any of the parks without you. So like that day we did lose a day in the parks. The two of them got to go into like Disney Springs and have a good time, get food and do some other things while I just like slept for half the day, laid in bed for the rest of the day. And that was a shame. I wasn't like bummed out about it a whole lot. It's just like, oh my god, like I hated the feeling of it. Luckily, again, like the park, the just the resort in general and Disney, like they want everyone to have the best time that they can. So when I called up guest services after I started feeling a bit better, maybe by like 6 p.m. on Tuesday was the thing. I was very, very pleased with how they handled it because like they were so apologetic and like offering like everything that they could to make sure that I was doing okay. They're like, do you need us to send anything to your room? Like, do you need us to send like any medical supplies, like anything like that? Do you need us to transport you like to like a medical facility? Like, is it like that? And I was like, no, it's nothing like that. Luckily, like I haven't been able to leave all day. So then I ended up being put on the phone with one of the managers at the resort, and he ended up saying, he was like, if you're not able to get to any of the parks today, let them know the day that you're checking out, and we will credit you with a 1 day park hopper pass that's valid for the next few years, because you lost a day of your trip essentially. And I was really appreciative of that, and it gives me incentive to find my way back to Disney over the next few years because I had a lot of fun and I don't want that ticket to go to waste. So I'm going to make sure that I use that at some point. But luckily, again, after resting for the entirety of Tuesday, I was able to be back on my feet by Wednesday. Like I had to ease my way back into eating. Like I ate basically nothing but like 3 crackers and some apple slices on Tuesday the entire day. Wednesday I was slow. I made sure not to order anything too heavy. I just wanted to make sure that I was feeling good enough by that point. But we went to, on Wednesday, our park that day was Magic Kingdom, so we went around there. And this I was looking forward to because the last time that I went to Magic Kingdom, and I've said it before, um, because of the storm that had passed over Florida when I went in 2012, most of the parks were shut down. Like I mean, the parks themselves were up and running, of course, but like the rides and like a lot of the experiences were shut down, or the wait times were really really long for the few that weren't down. So when I went to Magic Kingdom, we got to do basically nothing. I remember there was the Star Tours. No, sorry, not Star Tours. That one's just haunting me. There was the Space Mountain ride. That was the only thing that was operational when I had went years ago, and it of course like ceased operation before me and my family even got to get on the ride. It happens to shut down like after we're waiting for like 90 minutes or something like that. So that was a shame. But this time around, I was like, okay, well, this is the park that I kind of dreaded the most the last time that I was here, and it ended up being one of my absolute favorites, just in terms of like the experiences that we had in the Magic Kingdom. So when we were there on Wednesday, because we actually that was the one park that we went to twice, once for most of the day on Wednesday, and then we went for the latter half of our final day in the parks on Friday. So when we were there initially, we went around and did a bunch of the rides. I told my friends, I was like, I'm not going to get on anything that's too intense. I want to just pace myself in case my stomach isn't quite back to 100%, and I was minding my appetite and all that type of stuff. Luckily, Magic Kingdom was, when we were there at the very least, the things that we did on Tuesday, or rather Wednesday, were largely just light experiences in general. Nothing too crazy. We did some shows, we did some like dark rides and like some slow moving rides, like not anything like high flying or whatever. And that was great. Like that was a lot of fun. I was happy to be able to do that and actually have some good, be able to make some good memories at Magic Kingdom, especially because the last time, again, it was what it was. It wasn't too great. So that was Wednesday, and then Thursday was when we went to Epcot. Now, Epcot I always remember as being like kind of like a favorite park for myself too when it comes to like exploration and just like being there and like moving around. And honestly, I would probably say that that still holds true nowadays after going back. It was a great time. Just being able to move around. The first thing that we did was Starship Earth, and or Spaceship Earth. Yes, Spaceship Earth. Sorry. Um, that was the first thing that we done when we went there. That was fun. It took a little longer than I wanted it to. As we were going through it, I forgot how slowly that one moves, but like that's kind of the point of it. But then once we were already like 10 plus minutes in, then I guess like just stuff going on with like people who are boarding the ride at the time, like it caused the ride to have to pause a couple times and leave us just kind of sitting in the dark waiting for the ride to start moving again. Like that happened, I want to say like 3 or 4 times before we got off the ride. So that was a bit of a pain, but beyond that it was a lot of fun. And then we did Soarin', which was one of my favorites, and that was one of the few that I remembered from my previous trip there. What I didn't remember is that that one was narrated by the good old Patrick Warburton, and that that alone was enough to get me and Matt a good laugh just based on some other stuff that was going on during the trip. Don't need to go into that. It's just a kind of an inside joke. But so that was a lot of fun, and then we spent a lot of time with that one just walking around and like seeing the sights. That was the one where we had the Figment like imagination experience and all that type of stuff, and like there was a lot of like I thought that I was tripping at certain points during that, and I mean, like not in a bad way. I was literally just like, oh my god, like this is kind of nuts. But like, it did feel like I needed to like really open my mind to just like let myself imagine like all the stuff that was happening and just like take it in as like reality. And like that was fun. Like that was great. Um, One of my favorite things about Epcot, just in general, is maneuvering around the entire world showcase. Though, like going to each of the different like world themed pavilions and seeing what they have to offer, seeing the like interacting with the cast members in those areas because a lot of them, if not like yeah, not definitely not all of them, but a lot of them are actually coming from those countries that are being represented, and it adds to like the feeling of authenticity and such. So that's always one of my favorite things to do is just like make my way around, and I always forget like how big the World Showcase is, like how long it can take to just walk through and see just about everything, if not everything. That would have taken so much longer if we went for everything as a whole. But yeah, so like that's where what I mean when I say like Epcot is like my best to explore. I realize it has to do with the World Showcase. Before we even got into the showcase, though, like right as we were walking up to it, I was able to get some of my absolute favorite pictures that I took throughout the entire trip, just because we were fortunate that the weather for the most part held up really really nicely. I want to say like 4 out of 5 days that we were there, it was like nothing but clear blue skies with like maybe just like a couple of clouds scattered here and there with the sun like nicely in the sky. Maybe just like once or twice like we had cloud coverage that led to maybe a little bit of rain before it passed over and just left us with the blue skies again. So that was fantastic for me because it meant that I was able to get a bunch of really really nice shots. So that's right, because in Epcot, it wasn't just the World Showcase. The other thing, the Disney themed experience that I remember like really stuck out with me that particular day was the Moana one. Like I don't remember what that area itself was called, but it was Moana themed, where it's like kind of like a walk-through garden, and you have a bunch of like water, like interactive like water spouts and all that type of stuff, where like you stick your hand above the fountain, for example, lift it up, and then like the water fountain below will start to push the water higher and like have it like react to what your hand motions are doing. And then you have the one like water spout wall where it says like if you walk slowly the water might open for you, and sure enough, yeah, if you're walking slow enough towards the water, then all the spouts in the middle will stop shooting water and allow you to just pass through. That was so cool. And Moana is one of my favorite Disney films just in general. So that was a great experience. The other thing that I did in Epcot, which I was really, really happy to be able to say that I did, something I have kind of wanted to say my entire life, even if I didn't realize it, I bought a dragon. I went in the England pavilion, one of the stores that they had. They were selling like a bunch of like dragon statue figurines and all that type of stuff, as well as like swords and daggers, stuff that was really cool. And I was initially tempted to try and purchase a sword, but I was like, I shouldn't. I probably shouldn't try to get a sword through airport security on my way back home. But a dragon that I can swing, so I managed to get myself a nice dragon. It was kind of like a birthday present to myself because I wasn't really doing a whole lot of spending like on like personal stuff. I was spending on food and just like a couple of attractions, but that was it. So I was like, this is gonna be like my one like take home thing. And I love him. I haven't come up with a name yet, but he just as a descriptor, he's sitting right here next to me. He's kind of like a sky blue and white dragon who's perched on top of an egg and has crystals surrounding the base of the egg. Like it's a really cool figurine, probably standing about, I want to say like 9 or 10 inches tall, something like that. It's got some good weight to it and is made really, really sturdy. So I protected that thing with my life on the way home. I didn't even put it into my checked luggage. I put it into my carry-on backpack and was like, I'll just deal with airport security myself to make sure that they don't manhandle the guy and kill him before we can even make it back home. So yeah, like That's Epcot. Like that's a lot of stuff that happened in Epcot. And again, I'm like kind of abridging it, like just in general because so many things happened. So the last day of the trip, last day in the parks at the very least was Friday, the 16th, and that day was jam packed with a lot of amazing things. Like, my goodness, Friday was my favorite day of the entire trip for many reasons. We started it. We got up earlier because we knew what we wanted to do. Since we had lost a day, we hadn't yet gotten to do everything in the parks that we wanted to. By Friday, we hadn't even gone to Animal Kingdom, so we got up a bit earlier in Animal Kingdom and got ourselves immediately to the Avatar rides and like the Pandora section and all that type of stuff because Flight of Passage is another ride I've wanted to do since it was opened and just never had the chance to. And it's also a ride that is still like so immensely popular that its wait times get ridiculous by like even like 9 a.m. or something like that during the off seasons. At that we went in January at that, and like stuff was still really busy and packed, of course, but this is the off season, so I can't imagine how it would be in the summer. I wouldn't even try it at this point. But yeah, so we went on Flight of Passage. That was one of my favorite rides because even though I'm not a big fan of the Avatar franchise just in general, like I've watched the first movie and the first movie alone. There are three of them at this point, and I thought that the first movie was okay. Like I liked the world itself, like the visuals. I hear it a lot. Like I like the visuals. I like the flora and the fauna. I like a lot of the concepts, but like the actual story and the characters mean basically nothing to me. So I kind of left it at that. But Flight of Passage kind of played into exactly what I love about the world of Avatar, the world of Pandora, because that's all that you're doing. You're flying on the back of an Ikran, and I can't be upset about that. And we also did the I keep forgetting the I think it's River Journey, Navi River Journey, something like that. Like we did that one, and that was beautiful. And then that animatronic at the end of it, oh my god! I apparently that animatronic is worth millions of dollars, and I could see it because it moves like it was so uncanny how real it looked, and like its movements, the size of it, like everything was just like my god, like this is an actual Navi. Like that's what it felt like, and I've heard that before, but like seeing it in person was a completely different experience. Next thing in Animal Kingdom was Expedition Everest, and oh my god, talk about another phenomenal ride. So now me as just me, I since I was young have never been like a big thrill ride person. Like I'm not too crazy on roller coasters. It wasn't actually until the last few years that I even started getting on the things. Is the thing. Just guys, I always figured that they'd be something I wouldn't really enjoy. Expedition Everest has kind of is done a couple of things for me. Like it's a proven myself of the past wrong as like why haven't you done this before? But then it also b proves me of the past right, where it's just like this is exactly why you haven't done this before. So now I'm like so split because I loved that ride so fast, so like all over the place, like going forwards, going backwards, going through the dark, going through like the open air, like going that fast again. Like it was so cool. It was an experience. Like it felt like a journey through the mountain. And that's kind of what it's like being pursued by a Yeti. That's what it's supposed to be. And that's why I think that ride is so incredible, honestly. What else? What else? So, like later in that day, because again, we were only at Animal Kingdom for a few hours on Friday because we had other things that we wanted to do. When we went to Magic Kingdom the Wednesday prior, we didn't get to do Tomorrowland. So, like the Tron ride and Space Mountain, which again, I still didn't go back on because roller coasters, again, I have my limits. But just like a bunch of the things that were in Tomorrowland, we missed those things because we didn't remember to do them on the Wednesday prior. So we were like, okay, let's split it. Animal Kingdom morning, Magic Kingdom to close out the day and close out the vacation as a whole. And I'm glad that we did it that way because, for one thing, Tron. Tron was a hell of a ride, just in general. I can't say that it was my favorite ride that I did, but as far as like coasters go, I would say that for me, like it kind of rivaled what we had with Expedition Everest. The consensus kind of was that Everest was kind of just a bit better because it was longer, it felt longer, and it had more to it. Tron, though, I've since playing Kingdom Hearts 2 for the first time almost 20 years ago, I've wanted to ride a light cycle if I ever got the chance, and this ride did it for me, and I'm so grateful. That ride was amazing, and it also propels you from the get-go faster than Everest does. Everest is propelled by gravity towards the end. Tron is like an actual like propulsion jump start at the beginning, but that jump start is like 10 miles per hour faster than what Everest has when you're like plummeting with the gravity. So like they feel different, but like my goodness, like what a thrill for both of them. Like both phenomenal rides. And then the last couple things that we did in Magic Kingdom on the Friday before we ended, we went and got dinner at the Crystal Palace, so the buffet with the character dining Winnie the Pooh characters. I love those characters, and that was a phenomenal experience all around. I got to take pictures with all four costume characters, and I'm so glad that I did. And that day, personally, for me, I think that that was when me and my friends had our best cast member server. Viviana was her name, and she was phenomenal just through and through, like just funny and like playing into like the jokes that me and my friends are telling and like the pranks and all that type of stuff and just like all around like kind of treating us like a mother would treat her children. Um just like sticking around like looking out for us and like talking to us and all that type of stuff. It was phenomenal, phenomenal lady. And that like the food there was amazing. Like I didn't want to leave. It was a buffet, so I got to keep eating, but I knew I had to know my limits. By that point, my stomach was feeling better, luckily. So the only reason that I stopped eating was because I already ate too much beforehand. So yeah, that was dinner that night, and then we quote unquote closed out the night with the I think Happily Ever After fireworks show, which I'd never gotten to see live. And again, some of my best pictures and videos that I got were from that show. Like, what a show! Like, that was beautiful. Great music, great visuals, great everything. Just huge crowd. Like, trying to deal with that crowd was a pain. But luckily, we didn't leave the park right then and there because my friends wanted to go on Space Mountain. I let them do that with their Lightning Lane. And then we did a couple other things and duck it out. And then, yeah, that was the end of our time with the parks. The Saturday morning, Saturday the 17th, so yesterday at the time of recording, that was my birthday. So I knew that my birthday experience was going to be a lot of like just traveling to the airport and then going through security, flying back home to New York and all that type of stuff. So again, like I was just like, like most of my celebrating was done on the trip anyway. But then luckily, once I got back home, got to see my family by like 6 o'clock, 6:30, something like that. Had a cake waiting for me and got to just share a bunch of experiences with them, like eat dinner that I'd ordered for myself, and then have them sing happy birthday, and I called it a night. So, all that said, like that is a very abridged wrap on my Disney trip. So now, again, like to as I said in the beginning, but let me just put a bow on it. Just in general, such a such a wonderful experience, like a trip that I really, really needed, and didn't know that I needed or how badly I needed it until I was already there experiencing it. Again, even that food poisoning incident was something that I can take with me as like a memory that I have now. And again, like it would have been worse was it not for the company that I was with at that too. So again, Matt Ash, like just in general, thank you so much for the experiences, for the memories, for the care that you gave to me when I was needing it at that too, and just all the fun that we had. So I'm glad that I can finally say that I've been back to Disney World. I've had an experience in Disney World as an adult at this point, so I was able to go and like just move around at my own pace, get a couple of drinks if I wanted to. Did that a few times, and that was nice to be able to do. And just be able to chill out and get away for a bit. So like when I got back, and even now as I'm still thinking about it, like I felt so and feel so rejuvenated after this trip because like my goodness, like I didn't realize how much I needed it. And if this is what vacations tend to feel like or what they can feel like and like what it can be like after the fact depending on how things go, like it really does just up my drive to do this more going forward because I need to be able to like step away from the real life every now and then and just get away and have a good time as I did over this last week. So, anyway, I'm going to call it here now. Everything is back in action at this point for me, getting back into my regular routines and rhythms and stuff. So, I'm going to be back to my regular recording rhythm later this week in a couple days, I'll be recording again on a Thursday, not on a Sunday. And whatever I talk about, it's not going to be Disney related at that point. Like, I've spoken about this trip enough as far as I want to, at the very least, for right now. So we're going to go on to other topics, whatever those are. Cross that bridge when I get there. So as for right now, thanks so much for listening, as always, and I will catch you in the next episode. Take care.